The year 2050. This was the era when humanity had changed its identity. We were no longer just inhabitants of Earth. We had become citizens of a universe. Tall buildings touched the clouds, and flying cars were common. But behind this progress lay a truth. Earth's resources were dwindling, and human curiosity was desperate to break its boundaries. In the midst of New York City, in a quiet apartment, Commander Ethan Cole was sitting with his young daughter. He was reading her a book filled with stories of stars and planets. Commander Ethan, explaining to the child. And then the astronaut landed on that new planet, where the grass was made of silver and the rivers were filled with shining gems. There was a sad glint in Ethan's eyes. He knew why he was telling his daughter a lie. The truth was that there was no silver grass in the universe, just darkness, silence, and countless dangers. But he wanted to give her that hope, the hope for which he himself was about to leave home. 1,000 miles away, in an advanced bio-research lab in Zurich, Dr. Lena Petrova was lost in her own world. Around her were computer screens and samples of life. But her gaze was fixed on something else, a small, living crystal trapped in a test tube, which was slowly emitting light in the darkness. Dr. Lena, muttering to herself, it's possible. Life isn't made in our way. It adapts, it changes. Lena's passion would one day force her to leave her world. She didn't believe that humanity was alone. She believed that in the universe existed forms of life that we couldn't even imagine, and she would do anything to find them. And then there was Lieutenant Lex Reed, a young pilot for whom the sky was a limit, not the final destination. In an advanced simulator at NASA, he was carrying out a fictional mission in which he was passing through an asteroid belt. His movements were fearless, his decisions instantaneous. Lieutenant Alex, in an excited voice, "Control, Lex here. I made those stones dance on my fingertips. Next time I'll do it for real." Besides these three were engineer Jack Turner, an experienced mechanic who was familiar with every bolt and nut of the ship, and other members, each of whom was an expert. They were all part of a mission that would write history, Operation Starseed. And then that day came, the day of the launch. At Cape Canaveral in Florida, the eyes of the world were fixed on Odyssey 9. It was not just a spaceship. It was a new hope for humanity. Mission control. T-minus 10, 9, 8. Ethan, Lena, Alex, and the rest of the crew were strapped into their seats. Behind their helmets, their eyes held both fear and excitement. Mission control. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. We have liftoff. Odyssey, 9 foot rose from Earth with a column of fire and smoke. It was a bird breaking free from its cage, free to fly towards its destination. As it went up, Earth was shrinking like a blue-white ball, a home that they were perhaps leaving forever. The first few weeks in space were filled with peace and wonder. Inside the ship, there was a regular routine research, exercise, and communication with Earth. One evening, when they were on their observation deck, they saw a sight that would stay with them forever. Lieutenant Alex, in awe. Wow! Just look at this. Before them, the Andromeda Galaxy was spread out like a shining spiral circle. Millions of stars seemed so close that they could be touched. Dr. Lena, emotionally, such beauty and such silence. Is all this really just for us? Commander Ethan, perhaps not Lena. Perhaps we are just the first listeners who have come to hear this music. These were the moment of peace they needed to remember, because the universe would soon show them its true form. This was no ordinary storm. It was an electromagnetic storm in space, a cosmic thunderstorm. Engineer Jack, in a concerned voice, "Commander, an unusual energy field is coming on the sensors. This is nothing we've seen in the data." Commander Ethan, "Find its source, Jack. Alex, keep the course stable." Lieutenant Alex, in a panicked voice, "Sir, what is this? The ship isn't listening to me, as if something is pulling us." Dr. Lena, "This energy is disrupting our systems. Ethan, our communications are starting to fail." Commander Ethan ran his fingers over the control panel, but every button was useless. And then, as if the storm's fury wasn't enough, a deadly rock appeared in their path. An asteroid. It was a killer, hidden in the storm's clouds. Commander Ethan, shouting, "Brace yourselves. Impact! Impact!" Odyssey 9 began to spin helplessly like a weak sail. One of its parts had blown off. Darkness, silence, and then a strange pull. The ship was trapped in an unknown gravitational field. Their final destination was no longer Andromeda, but an unknown planet. When Commander Ethan's eyes opened, he was in a strange light. The control room was destroyed. The smell of smoke and electrical sparks was in the air. He called out to his team. Engineer Jack, groaning. "Jack here, sir. I'm stuck." Dr. Lena, coughing. "Lena here, Ethan. Are we alive? Where are we?" Commander Ethan, sitting up, shivering in pain. "I don't know, Lena, but we start from here. First, let's check on the surviving members. Then we'll see this place." Commander Ethan, coughing on the radio. "Ethan, the all crew report." The roll call continued. Some answered. Some voices were silenced forever. In this accident, they had 7 companions, but now only 4 survived: Ethan, Lena, Alex, and Jack. The death of the rest of the crew had cast a deep, grief upon them. They were no longer just explorers. They were living witnesses of a tragedy. When they stepped out of the broken ship, their breath stopped. This was no planet. It seemed like a land of fantasy. In the sky were two suns, one blue, the other orange. On the ground were wild but bright plants, which were not green, but purple and golden. In the air was a strange smell, which was neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Lieutenant Alex, in surprise, this is no less than a dream. Commander Ethan, dream or nightmare, time will tell. Right now we need a safe place and water. They had limited oxygen, broken technology, and had to face an unknown world. They took shelter in a small cave, hidden behind a huge rock. When night came, the reality of that planet became even more mysterious. The leaves and flowers on the trees began to glow slowly, as if countless fireflies had merged into them. Dr. Lena, whispering in fear, "Did you hear that?" Lieutenant Alex, drawing his weapon, "Yes, someone is here." Their fear proved true. Outside the cave in the darkness, some shadows were moving. They were neither human nor animal. These were an unusual species. Their bodies were like humans, but on their skin were faint bioluminescent patterns, which were slowly glowing in the dim light. Their eyes were slightly larger and deeper, and their fingers were long and thin. Commander Ethan, whispering, "No one make any sudden moves. We don't know what these are." Both sides were looking at each other. On one side were the astronauts, who took pride in their technology and reason, and on the other side was that unknown species, whose very existence was a mystery. Fear, doubt, and curiosity. All these emotions were swirling in the air. Lieutenant Alex's patience broke. He picked up a stone and threw it toward those shadows. This was the incident that broke the peace. Instead of retreating, those hybrid species let out a strange sound and began to advance. Their voices were neither human nor animal. They were a mixture of both. And with that, a new, silent beginning of their struggle occurred. The next few days passed like a silent war. The astronauts tried to repair some parts of their broken ship so that a message could be sent to Earth. But those hybrids did not leave them alone. They watched them from afar, hiding behind trees, in the shadows of rocks, observing their every move. Engineer Jack, muttering, "This communication system is completely fried. I can pray to God to fix it, but I think it's just a piece of iron." One evening, when they were sharing their small supply of ration bottles, something strange happened. Outside the cave, in the place they had left, some shiny purple fruits were kept. They did not match any tree on that planet. Dr. Lena, in surprise, this is edible. It has an incredible amount of those vitamins and proteins we needed. This is a small miracle of this planet. Carefully, Ethan took the first bite. The taste was strange, sweet and slightly sour, like a mixture of grapes and lemon. It was not poisonous. It was their lifeline. That night, The astronauts ate a full meal for the first time in weeks. And in the distance, in the darkness, seeing the glowing eyes of those hybrids, it seemed as if they were happy. Lieutenant Alex, immediately moving toward his weapon. This is a trap. They want to poison us. Dr. Lena, stopping him. Alex, stop. If they want to kill us, they could have done so already. This seems like a peace proposal. Commander Ethan, seriously, this is a test. They want to see if we trust them or not. A debate broke out. Alex's argument was, reject the unknown. Lena's argument was, try to understand. Finally, Ethan made a decision. Lena used her portable bioscanner. As the days passed, this strange relationship developed. During the day, the astronauts tried to repair the ship, and at night, the hybrids gave them food and sometimes pointed them to sources of water. But the fear was still there. One day, Jack was looking for a small river. When he reached there, he saw that a hybrid was standing there, right in his path. It neither came nor went. It was just standing, a silent guard. Engineer Jack, on the radio in a panic. Ethan, I've found one. It's standing between me and the water. I think it wants to stop me. Commander Ethan, calm down, Jack. Step back. We can't take any risks. But Jack was desperate with thirst. He tried to move forward slowly. With every step, that hybrid also took a step towards him. It was a play in which fear and need were face to face. Finally, Jack gave up and returned. That day, they did not get water. This incident created a new rift in the team. Alex's suspicion now seemed to be proven true. Lieutenant Alex angrily, I told you, these are not our friends. They want to drive us away from here, or worse, kill us slowly by weakening us. Dr. Lena, you're wrong. Alex, they are scared. We are intruders in their world. Perhaps that water source is sacred to them. And then another problem arose, a problem they had not even imagined. Engineer Jack, who was constantly in contact with the radioactive substances of the broken ship, fell ill. Dr. Lena, concerned, this is not just a fever. On his skin, such marks are forming. They are slowly starting to glow, just like those hybrids. This news was like an electric shock to them. Was this planet changing them too? Was this the future of those hybrids? This question was eating them from inside. They had no cure. The medicines in their medical kit were helpless against this unknown disease. Commander Ethan, in despair, we are losing him, Lena. We are losing him here. It was here that Dr. Lena made a decision that would change their future. She was going to do a brave act. She was going to get close to a hybrid who seemed injured. Its leg was stuck in a thorny bush. Lena took out her medical kit and began to treat it gently. That hybrid did not try to stop her. It just watched her with a strange peace in its eyes. When Lena bandaged its wound, that hybrid extended its hand and gently touched Lena's helmet. Its touch was cold, but it also had a warmth. Commander Ethan, on the radio, concerned, Lena, come back. This is dangerous. But then something happened that changed everything. That hybrid began to draw some lines on the ground with its finger. The lines first seemed absurd, But soon a shape began to form from them, a shape that was like a spaceship. Then it drew another shape of humans who were in spacesuits. Dr. Lena, stammering, This is like our ship Odyssey 9, but it looks old. That hybrid drew another shape again, a crashed spaceship. Then it pointed towards itself, and then towards Lena. It was a strange message being given without words. Then it pointed towards its injured leg, and then towards that plant for which Lena had taken the medicine. Then it placed its hand on its chest, where its heart was beating. Dr. Lena, on the radio, her voice trembling. Ethan, I think it's trying to tell me that they were also sick, and this plant healed them. Perhaps this can also heal Jack. This was a turning point. The astronauts understood that these hybrids were not their enemies. They were trying to tell them something. Ethan, Lena, Alex, and Jack followed that hybrid, who led them to a huge cave. The sight inside the cave would stun them. On the walls of the cave were drawings thousands of years old. The first drawing showed a spaceship crashing, then some humans who had survived on that planet. Then those humans were shown consuming that planet's environment and food. And then, slowly their changing form was shown. On their skin had appeared the same bioluminescent patterns. Their eyes had become larger. They had become the same hybrid species that the astronauts had met. Lieutenant Alex, in disbelief, this can't be possible. Dr. Lena, with tears in her eyes, this is true, Alex. These are not our ancestors. These are our future. These are the humans who, like us, were trapped here years ago. This planet changed them. In the middle of the cave, on a stone, was placed a metal plate. On it was written, which was covered with dust. Ethan gently removed the dust. There, written in English, was, Commander Ethan, reading slowly, we were the first, the explorers from Earth. Your genetics are the same. Don't fight, understand. This planet changes. It adapts. We are the proof and the warning. We were the first, the explorers from Earth. Your genetics are the same. Don't fight, understand. This planet changes. It adapts. We are the proof and the warning. Commander Ethan's voice was echoing in the silence of the cave. We are the proof and the warning. These words were no less than a shock to them. The species they feared, they struggled with, was a distorted image of their own. They were a mirror of the future, which made them realize their reality. Lieutenant Alex, slowly sitting on his knees. So this is our future. These marks, this form. In place of fear, sympathy had come. In the eyes of those hybrids, which they previously considered dangerous, they could now see a deep grief, a grief that was centuries old. Then one of the elderly hybrids stepped forward. It went to that plate and began to draw another picture on the wall with its long, thin fingers. This time, the picture showed a human falling ill, on whose body were the same shiny marks that had appeared on Jack. Then it showed that plant from which Lena had taken the medicine, and then that human getting well. Dr. Lena, with hope, they are telling us how to save Jack. This was an invitation, a proposal of trust. Without thinking, Ethan nodded. That elderly hybrid signaled to another hybrid, who immediately went out of the cave and returned in a few moments with some leaves of that slimy plant. Lena crushed those leaves on a stone, making a strange, shiny paste. She gently applied that paste to those marks on Jack's body, which were slowly spreading. The hybrid stood watching silently, with strange anxiety on their faces. Hours passed. Jack's fever subsided, his breath became normal, and most importantly, the mysterious marks on his skin slowly faded and disappeared. Engineer Jack, opening his eyes in a weak voice, Am I okay? At that moment, an invisible wall collapsed between every human and every hybrid present in the cave. This was no longer a question of fear or doubt. This was a question of life and death, and trusting each other. Alex, who was always ready for conflict, slowly put down his weapon. He looked at that elderly hybrid and slowly nodded his head, a sign of respect. The next few months were the beginning of a new chapter. Now the conflict was over. The astronauts had accepted those hybrids as their own. They started living together. The astronauts tried to teach them their technology. Jack told the hybrids how to build strong shelters using stones and wood. Lena told them about other plants and creatures on that planet, which the hybrids didn't even know about. And in return, the hybrids told them the ways to survive on this planet, which fruits to eat, which roots to extract water from, and how to protect from the wild animals of the night. Commander Ethan, addressing his team, sitting around a fire, our mission is over. We cannot go back to Earth. But a new beginning has happened. We need to give a new meaning to our existence. We are no longer explorers. We are now creators. Narrator, was this an end or a new beginning? Perhaps both. The astronauts had lost their identity, but had gained a new one. They were no longer just human, nor hybrid. They were a new form of life, a form that was bridging the gap between two different worlds. Years passed. The wreckage of Odyssey 9 had now become a sacred memorial, a place that reminded them where they had come from. On it grew grass and the bright flowers of that planet. One evening, when both suns, blue and orange, were slowly setting in the sky, a small child was standing on that wreckage. That child's eyes were slightly larger and deeper, but in them was a different kind of sparkle. On its skin were faint bioluminescent patterns, which were glowing the love of his mother, who was a human. It was the first such child, which was a union of both worlds on this unknown planet. In that child's eyes, a new star was shining. A star that was neither of Earth nor that unknown planet. It was the star of hope, a hope that was uniting two different worlds and writing a new story. A story that had no end, just a new beginning. Child, pointing toward the sky, star, and perhaps, in some corner of the universe, an old father had told his daughter, while reading a book, that stars tell stories. Today, a new story was beginning. A story that was higher than the stars.